Okay, let's unpack this. We often hear these stories, right? Individuals rising to fame, getting global recognition. It happens so fast sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Makes headlines.
Exactly. Captures everyone's imagination. But, what happens after? After
Oh.
the applause dies down, the interviews stop, the travel ceases.
Yeah, the quiet after the storm.
Right.
Yeah.
And our deep dive today looks into, well, a really fascinating next chapter for someone like that. It reveals that maybe the true impact, the lasting stuff, it doesn't start with big global gestures.
Yeah.
It starts with a quiet return home.
Mm-hmm.
And this really profound desire to just give back.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how this very personal journey, overcoming a specific fear he had, how that transforms, how it becomes this powerful force for building community. We're digging into excerpts from the English School, Giving Others a Voice, specifically episode 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it chronicles this remarkable, almost unexpected turn in Sami's story. It really shows how, personal victory can become a sort of blueprint for empowering a whole group.
And our mission here for this deep dive is to really get under the skin of how Sami's experience, going viral, getting all this recognition for his English speaking, how that didn't just end with him being famous forever. Instead, it kind of surprisingly set the stage for him to help countless others right there in his own hometown.
Yeah, turning outwards instead of just focusing inwards.
Exactly. It's this compelling story of legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And quiet courage. And that powerful ripple effect, the one we often underestimate, that comes from just helping someone find their voice.
Absolutely.
It really makes you think that maybe the greatest journey isn't just your own steps forward. Sometimes maybe it's about helping someone else take their very first one. That's a powerful thought.
So let's dive right into the beginning of this transformation. Sami's unexpected homecoming. The source describes it with such power.
It does.
After the viral videos, the endless interviews, the traveling, he goes back to his hometown. And the observation is just so poignant. The same streets, the same people.
But now, something had changed. Wow. That line just, it hits you, doesn't it?
It really does.
What kind of, profound internal shift do you think that's pointing to? Especially after all that global exposure.
Well, that's really where the core of the story lies, isn't it? It's not just a status change, from regular guy to viral sensation. It's deeper.
Okay.
It's like a fundamental recalibration of who he is. He's gone through something extraordinary, something most people, they only dream about, right?
Right, totally.
And yet, instead of chasing bigger, maybe more glamorous opportunities, which you might expect.
Yeah, the logical next step, maybe.
Maybe, but he goes straight back to his roots. And that signifies something really vital, a grounding.
Grounding.
Yeah. It suggests that fame for Sami wasn't about escaping where he came from. Maybe it was more like a new lens, a way to see his home with fresh eyes.
Interesting.
And that contrast, between how the world sees him, the viral English speaker, and his own internal transformation, that's really compelling. He's not just Sami from the neighborhood anymore. He's Sami who's seen the world, sure, but maybe more importantly, he's been seen by the world. And that gives him this unique perspective, doesn't it?
And that internal change, that shift within him, how do you think that actually manifests? Does it mean he sees the familiar streets, the people, with maybe a sharper awareness of needs he hadn't fully seen before?
Could be.
Or maybe gave him the confidence, to tackle things he'd noticed before but felt powerless.
I think it's precisely that internal shift, the something had changed, him. It's not just personal growth in a vacuum.
Right.
It's about recalibrating his purpose. The global experience, by validating his own struggle, his success with English, it very likely amplified his awareness of what was needed locally.
Okay, so seeing the bigger picture helped him see the smaller picture more clearly.
Exactly. Think about it. You overcome this huge personal hurdle, right? And suddenly you get worldwide recognition for it. That gives you a unique viewpoint. You understand the scale of that struggle, not just for you, but potentially for loads of others in similar situations. So this global thing, it wasn't just a platform. It gave him perspective and confidence.
Confidence to act.
Yes, to act on things he might have felt before, but maybe were dormant. This return, it wasn't just moving back physically, it was a return to core values, but now he sees their potential impact magnified. He's not just coming home, he's coming back with a deeper sense of who he is and, crucially, a clearer idea of what he can offer his community. The world made him famous, you could say.
Yeah.
But his hometown brought him back to his purpose. It really sets the scene perfectly for that next pivotal moment.
And what comes next is absolutely that defining moment, the catalyst.
Mm.
The source tells us Sami visited his old school,
Yeah.
a place, full of memories.
Mm-hmm. Must have been strange going back.
I bet. And his English teacher greets him, all proud. You've become famous, Sami.
Right, the external view again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the real moment, the pivotal one, happens when he steps into his old classroom, surrounded by old desks.
Yeah.
And he sees this young boy
Yeah.
just struggling to say, "My name is."
Oh, wow.
And then that line that just anchors it all makes it so relatable. Sami remembered himself, and that moment changed everything.
That's the aha moment, isn't it? Pure and simple, where the past just slams into the future.
It absolutely is the quintessential aha moment. And it's so powerful because it goes way beyond just empathy.
How so?
Well, it's not just feeling sorry for the kid. It's this direct, almost physical recognition of his own past self right there in that struggling student.
Like looking in a mirror.
Exactly. And a mirror image of his own journey, the fear, the awkwardness, that profound vulnerability he once felt just trying to say his own name in English.
Yeah.
And think about the context. The teacher's casual comment about fame. It's almost ironic, isn't it? Such a sharp contrast to this raw personal realization Sami is having.
Fame, right then, completely irrelevant. What mattered was the echo of his own struggle right there in front of him. And that kind of recognition, seeing your former self in someone else's current struggle, it often lights this fire, doesn't it? This powerful, almost inescapable drive to help.
Yeah.
It's a deep personal connection to the problem. It turns an abstract idea into something deeply felt, an urgent mission.
So it wasn't just a vague, oh, I should help people. It was specific, tied to that fear, that struggle with speaking. How powerful is that to see your past self after you've already succeeded?
It's incredibly powerful because it activates this deeply personal commitment, a sense of real responsibility. It turns a general doing good feeling into something specific, urgent, and deeply resonant. And when the source says everything changed, that implies a total reordering of his priorities.
Right.
His fame, which maybe until then was about personal gain or staying in the spotlight, it suddenly became a tool, a platform, a means to a much bigger end. He realized his unique experience, his victory over that fear, gave him not just empathy, but massive credibility and a practical blueprint for how to help others over that same hurdle.
Yeah, he knew the way.
He did. This moment wasn't some random new idea. It was about igniting this deep, personal commitment to use his own journey for something bigger. It's a potent reminder, isn't it?
Yep.
Our biggest challenges, once we overcome them, often become our most valuable assets for helping others.
Right. Yeah.
That immediate, profound realization, the sleepless night that followed, it really set Sami on a completely new course and led directly to the idea for his initiative.
Which is precisely where the vision for the Sami English Center started taking shape, right? So now we're into section 2 of our deep dive, from vision to reality, building the Sami English Center.
Let's get into it.
It starts with the genesis of the idea itself. Section 2.1, the idea takes shape, a safe space from a personal need. The source says that sleepless night, Sami gets out his notebook, scribbles down, what if I create a small English center?
The what if.
And he pictures it as something very specific, a safe space to speak, to learn, to believe. But what's really crucial is that extra note he makes. Not fancy, not big, but real.
Yes.
This vision, like you said, it comes from such a genuine, heartfelt place, not some strategic business plan.
You're absolutely right. This wasn't born from market research or, a commercial angle. It came directly from Sami's own deeply personal experience.
Right.
And his desire to stop others from going through that same paralyzing fear he felt. The concept of a safe space is just paramount here.
Why safe space specifically, do you think?
Because it directly tackles the fear of judgment, of making mistakes, the social anxiety that just shuts down language learners, especially maybe in cultures where public mistakes feel extra embarrassing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So this isn't just a place for grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It's designed as a sanctuary, a place for vulnerability where people feel secure enough to actually take risks with the language, knowing they won't be, laughed at or shut down.
And that phrase, not fancy, not big, but real. That's so important too, isn't it?
Hugely significant. It speaks volumes about authenticity, accessibility, and a laser focus on practical, real impact over just superficial appearances or expensive buildings.
Yeah.
In many communities, especially where resources might be tight or where maybe there's a bit of distrust towards slick institutional things, an approach based on genuine connection and practical help, that resonates way more deeply. It's how you build trust. It's how you get people to even walk through the door.
So it's about stripping away all the intimidation that often comes with learning, especially language learning,
Yeah,
for people who feel really self-conscious.
exactly.
And that real aspect,
Yeah.
what does that imply about the learning environment itself? How's it different from, say, a more conventional school?
That's a great question. A real environment, in Sammy's mind, likely means one that's super responsive, empathetic, really focused on the learner's emotional needs, their practical needs, not just sticking to some rigid, abstract curriculum. It would prioritize actually talking over just memorizing stuff passively, building confidence over constantly correcting errors, just for the sake of it.
Right.
Think about it. A fancy place might have amazing tech, glossy brochures, but if it doesn't feel psychologically safe, if students are terrified to speak up, well, how effective is it, really?
Not very.
Exactly. So Sammy's idea of real probably meant a place where the human connection, the personal touch, and using the language in a supportive way were absolutely central. This humble vision, it just shows that powerful, life-changing projects don't always need huge resources or grand buildings.
Yeah.
What they need is a clear, empathetic purpose, a deep understanding of the problem, and an authentic, just down-to-earth approach.
But even the clearest vision needs help to become reality.
True. Which brings us right to the next crucial step.
Section 2.2.
Yeah.
A partnership forged in shared purpose. The role of Lena. The source gives us this incredibly brief but telling exchange. Sami messages Lena, "Would you help me build it?"
Yeah. Simple question.
And her reply. Instantly. Always. Just, wow. That single word, always. It says so much about their connection, their shared commitment, doesn't it?
It truly does. It's profound. A real testament to deep trust and, like you said, this powerful alignment of values. Lena's immediate, unwavering, always. It's not just a casual sure friend.
Yo.
It signals this deep understanding of Sammy's purpose, his passion. It suggests either she saw the same desperate need for a place like this, or she just had absolute faith in Sami himself to make it happen.
Yeah, maybe both.
Maybe both. And this moment, it just highlights how indispensable collaboration is, even for the most personal, heartfelt visions. It shows Sami, despite his fame, wasn't alone in seeing this need or valuing the solution.
To having that partner.
It's crucial.
Right.
Someone offering immediate, unconditional support that gives you moral backing, practical help. It can literally be the difference between an idea staying in a notebook and actually becoming real.
Absolutely.
The power of one single definite yes. It can be the foundation for huge change, especially when that yes comes from shared purpose and belief. It reminds you that even the most individual success story often leans on the support and belief of others.
It's almost like Lena didn't need the details, the business plan. She got the heart of it, the why, and that was enough.
Exactly. She got the why.
And with that partnership sealed, the physical center could finally start taking shape.
Which leads us right into Section 2.3, the humble beginnings, grassroots establishment. The source paints such a vivid picture here.
It really does.
They rent a small room beside a tea shop. I love that detail.
We too. So accessible.
Right. And they physically paint the walls themselves by a simple whiteboard. And get this, collected old chairs and secondhand books.
Wow. Proper bootstrapping.
Totally grassroots. And then that powerful motto on the door, Sami English Center, speak without fear.
The promise.
The promise. But then reality hits. Day one, only 3 students came.
Oof. That could be disheartening.
It could be. But Sammy's reaction, it's just beautiful, so indicative of his whole spirit. He smiles and says, "That's 3 more voices than yesterday."
Ah, that's fantastic.
It really drives home the authentic grassroots feel of the whole thing.
Yeah, that location, beside a tea shop, it immediately gives you this image of it being part of daily life, right?
Yeah.
Not some intimidating building set apart.
Yep.
Integrated.
Absolutely integrated. Less scary for potential students. And the resourcefulness of the old chairs and secondhand books, it just underlines their dedication. It's the mission over luxury.
It's that not fancy, not big, but real philosophy in action.
Exactly. It says, we're here for real learning, not for show. And the name on the door, speak without fear. It's not just a name, is it?
No, it's everything.
It's the mission statement. It tackles head-on that core psychological barrier Sami faced, the one he saw in that boy. It makes the center's purpose crystal clear and incredibly inviting. It's a promise, an invitation to anyone walking by saying, this is a safe place. Your vulnerability is protected here.
And that detail about only 3 students on day 1.
Yeah.
It's so important, isn't it? In our world, obsessed with huge launches and instant scale.
Yes.
Sami's reaction is just this profound lesson in valuing every single step, no matter how small it looks. It says so much about his focus.
It's crucial. It reinforces the authenticity, the humble start. It actually makes the growth that comes later feel more impactful, more meaningful. Sami's positive mindset, that's 3 more voices than yesterday, shows his focus on individual progress, his belief in the value of each person.
Yeah.
Success for him wasn't about hitting big numbers or boasting. It was about the daily act of empowerment. One person, one voice at a time. That initial low turnout actually underlines the idea that real change starts small, with consistent steps, valuing every single person who walks in.
And that foundational spirit, with the place now physically set up, leads straight into Sami's unique teaching approach.
His empowering approach. Let's get into it.
Okay, Section 3, the heart of the center. Sami's empowering approach to teaching, starting with 3.1. Sami's first class, teaching from experience and empathy. The source gives us this wonderful, intimate scene. Sami, now the teacher, stands before his students, and he opens with words that must have just hit home immediately. Hello, my name is Sami.
Simple start.
I once stood where you are. I was afraid to speak English. I was afraid to make mistakes.
Wow. Leading with vulnerability.
Totally. But today, I'm here to help you speak, not perfectly,
Yeah.
but proudly. And then the observation. The students clapped, not because of his English, because
Right.
of his heart. What made that opening so fundamental to everything?
Oh, that opening class is absolutely foundational, not just for the philosophy, but for the entire success of the center. Sami's willingness to share his own vulnerability, right? To say, I once stood where you are.
Yeah.
It instantly creates this incredibly empathetic bond. He just disarms any fear or intimidation right away by admitting his own past struggles.
It's so different from the usual teacher-student dynamic.
Yeah, completely different, where the teacher is often the flawless, untouchable expert. Sami positions himself as a fellow traveler, someone who's walked that tough path and is now saying, hey, I get your fear because I lived it, let me help.
So by being open about his own fear, his own mistakes, he makes it safe for them from minute 1. He's saying, it's okay, you're not alone.
Exactly. And his core message, not perfectly, but proudly, that is such a powerful reframe. It tackles the biggest psychological block in language learning head on.
Which is?
Perfectionism. It paralyzes learners, makes them terrified to even open their mouths because they might make a mistake.
Right, the fear of getting it wrong.
Precisely. So by shifting the focus away from external validation, away from flawless grammar, and onto internal confidence, onto pride in just making the effort, he empowers them to take risks, to experiment, and crucially, just to speak.
It's about building their belief in themselves.
Yes. Self-efficacy, helping them believe they can do it rather than just drilling vocabulary or pronunciation. It's moving from a performance mindset, I have to get this right, to a growth mindset, mistakes help me learn.
That's a huge shift, focusing on connection, communication, courage, not just correctness. And the students clapping because of his heart. That just underscores it, doesn't it? That genuine connection, that sincerity can be way more impactful, more inspiring than just technical skill in a teacher.
It's a truly powerful observation. It shows the students weren't just looking for someone to dump knowledge on them in a dry way. They wanted someone who understood them, who genuinely cared about their journey, who could inspire them past their own fears.
Yeah.
A teacher's vulnerability, ironically, builds immense trust. It encourages way more participation than any mask of perfect expertise ever could. This authentic, inspiring start, it laid the perfect foundation for the center's growth, real organic growth.
Which takes us perfectly into Section 4. The ripple effect. Growth and profound impact, starting with 4.1, organic expansion and engaging methodologies. The source really details this growth vividly. Weeks passed, 3 students became 10, then 20.
That slow, steady climb.
Yeah, and crucially, it was organic growth. Some brought their parents. Some brought neighbors. That says so much about how effective it was and how it just wove itself into the community fabric.
It absolutely does. That rapid word-of-mouth growth, it's maybe the strongest, most authentic proof that something's really working.
Right. People are telling their families, their friends.
Exactly. When students aren't just learning, but actually enjoying it, having real breakthroughs, they become the best possible ambassadors. And the fact they brought parents and neighbors. It means the Sami English Center wasn't just seen as a school, it was seen as a valuable community resource, something that genuinely helped the whole family, the whole neighborhood.
That's real community buy-in.
The best kind. It shows the center was filling a real, deeply felt need.
And the source also highlights how Sami did it, the specific methods he used. Fun methods, word games, role-play interviews, and these speak for one-minute challenges. These aren't random, are they? They tie right back to the speak without fear idea.
Not random at all. They are brilliantly designed pedagogical tools that directly tackle those common learning anxieties we talked about.
Okay, break that down. How do word games help?
Well, word games make learning vocabulary playful, collaborative. Instead of boring drills, students are interacting, laughing, connecting new words with positive feelings. That massively helps retention and lowers the pressure.
Makes sense? What about the role plays?
Role-play interviews. Fantastic. They give practical, real-world scenarios, job interviews, maybe asking for directions, travel stuff, but in a safe, pretend environment.
Okay.
Students can practice, make mistakes, learn from them, all without the high stakes of a real-life situation. Builds practical fluency and confidence in specific situations.
And the one-minute challenges. They sound a bit intimidating.
They might sound it, but they're actually brilliant for beating performance anxiety. They encourage regular, short bursts of practice. The time limit makes it feel doable, less scary than a long presentation.
Oh, I see.
It forces students to think fast, organize thoughts quickly, and crucially, just get the words out, prioritizing communication over perfection. Every single one of these activities reinforces the idea. It's okay to try, it's okay to mess up, just speak.
So they make the whole process engaging, accessible, and psychologically safe. Directly fighting that fear Sami knew so well.
Precisely. This organic growth, driven by the community, powered by these innovative methods, it's such a contrast to how big institutions often expand. Really highlights the power of genuine community impact.
And we also see Lena staying involved here. Sami invites her to teach online. That shows real adaptability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking ahead, expanding reach beyond just the physical room.
Indeed. Lena teaching online shows they're thinking smart, using tech to amplify the mission, reach people who maybe can't come in person. It shows the partnership is alive, evolving, finding new ways to help more people. It really solidifies the center's impact and makes it more resilient.
And all this growth, these numbers, the methods, it all translates into these really profound changes in people's actual lives, which is shown so beautifully in this next anecdote.
Ah, yes, this is the heart of it.
Section 4.2, the true measure of success, a parent's heartfelt testimony. This, for me, this is where it all comes together. The source describes a mother coming up to Sami one day, and she shares this. My daughter used to hide when people spoke English.
Wow. Literally hide.
Yeah, now she speaks at dinner. Just think about that change.
Incredible. From hiding to speaking at the family dinner table.
And the mother says, you didn't just teach her words, you gave her courage. And Sami's reaction inside, he felt his chest tighten, thinking, this is the real reward.
Goosebumps. That anecdote goes so far beyond just language learning. It highlights this deep, truly life-changing transformation. The daughter's journey from hiding to confidently speaking at dinner. That's the ultimate proof of impact.
Yeah.
It's not about test scores or vocabulary lists. It's about a fundamental shift in how that child interacts with her family, her world, her own sense of self. It's about confidence, participation in daily life. That's far more profound than just learning grammar.
And the mother's words. You didn't just teach her words, you gave her courage. That sums it all up, doesn't it?
Perfectly. It articulates the center's core value proposition beautifully. It mirrors Sami's original vision, the safe space to speak, by showing that the courage to speak, the self-belief to engage, that's even more valuable than the words themselves. It's an aha moment for us listening too, isn't it? Realizing education isn't just facts and skills, it's about unlocking human potential, helping people fully show up in their own lives.
And Sami's reaction, feeling his chest tighten, realizing this is the real reward. It just drives home his deepest motivation. It shows that true fulfillment for him wasn't about personal fame or recognition. It was about empowering others. That's a satisfaction that fleeting celebrity just can't touch.
It absolutely does. It forces us, to rethink what success really means, especially when we talk about human development, community impact. So often we measure education just by knowledge gained, test scores.
Right, the easy metric.
Yeah, the easy measure. And we overlook the crucial stuff, the harder to measure stuff like confidence, self-efficacy, the ability to actually use that knowledge meaningfully. For Sami, this moment was the ultimate validation, way beyond any viral fame. It underscores that helping someone find their voice and, crucially, the courage to use it, that's a profoundly meaningful contribution to their life, their family, their whole community.
And that profound personal impact leads us right into talking about the center's legacy and Sami's bigger vision.
The ripple effect continues.
Section 5. Beyond Words. The emotional core and lasting legacy, starting with 5.1. A new generation inspired. The promise of continuity. The source tells us about the first anniversary celebration for the center, a big milestone.
Yeah, proof it's working, it's sticking around.
And during this celebration, a 9-year-old student, Zara, walks up to Sami, and she declares with total conviction, "One day, I will teach here too, like you, Sami Pai." How heartwarming is that? Talk about legacy.
It really is. The anniversary itself is significant, right? It cements the center's place in the community, celebrates that first year of success. But Zara's statement, that's the ultimate validation of legacy.
Yeah.
It's the direct, clear inspiration of the next generation, not just to benefit from the mission, but to take ownership of it, to carry it forward.
And her saying she wants to teach there, like you, Sami Pai.
That phrasing is so significant. Sami Pai, it's respectful, affectionate, often means brother or elder brother. It shows this deep, almost familial connection. Sami isn't just a teacher or some famous guy. He's a role model, a mentor, someone trusted and loved in that community. She sees him as someone to be like, not just admire from afar.
So he didn't just teach them English. He ignited something much deeper. A sense of purpose, this desire to contribute, to pay it forward. That's a legacy way beyond language lessons. It's about building leaders, community spirit.
That's precisely it. This anecdote gives us this powerful picture of continuity, of potential exponential impact. It shows our deep dive isn't just about language learning, it's about fostering leadership, community stewardship. He lit a spark in Zara, this sense of capability, of purpose that she now wants to share, that ripple effect where one person's courage inspires another's dream. That's how you create real, lasting, self-sustaining change.
Yeah.
It's not just about building a center, it's about building a culture of empowerment, of paying it forward. And Zara's dream perfectly sets up Sami's ultimate vision.
Which leads us to the final point, section 5.2, the enduring message, voices rising, world speaking together. That night, after Zara's declaration, Sami, clearly moved, writes something really aspirational on the center's wall. One voice becomes 2, 2 becomes 20.
The progression.
And someday, the world will speak together. Wow, this powerful inscription becomes the center's motto, Sami's grand vision. How does that capture the core theme of his whole journey, the center's purpose?
It encapsulates it perfectly. It connects the intimate, local impact, starting small, growing organically, to this universal hope.
Right.
It links the Sami English Center, starting with just 3 students, growing to 10, then 20. It links that to this much bigger global dream, worldwide communication, understanding. It's not just about practical English skills anymore. It's about a deep belief in shared language, breaking down barriers.
One voice becomes 2.
Yeah.
2 becomes 20. That speaks to the ripple effect, doesn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. The exponential growth of influence. Starting with individuals, spreading outwards in wider and wider circles. This motto is a powerful statement about what communication itself is for bridging divides, fostering connection, ultimately building a more unified, understanding world. It's deeply poetic, visionary, elevates the mission beyond just being a local language school.
It suggests that even small, local projects, driven by personal experience, by that heartfelt desire to give back, they can actually contribute to something much larger, a global goal of unity, understanding. It's incredibly hopeful, almost philosophical.
It is, absolutely. This vision highlights that profound ripple effect of individual courage and dedicated community action. Sami's journey, it didn't peak with fame. It evolved into this mission to empower others, creating a chain reaction. One voice helps another, and the hope is eventually the whole world finds its collective voice, speaking together, understanding each other. It reminds us that every interaction, every lesson in that small room, every voice rising in the Sami English Center, it all contributes to this grander vision. It's a truly inspiring picture of lasting impact, showing that real change often starts small. with courage, empathy, and just a commitment to lifting others up.
So what does this all mean for us listening to this? This deep dive into Sami's story from the English school. Giving others a voice, it really reminds you, doesn't it? Finding your own voice, achieving your own success. Often that's just the start.
Just the beginning.
The real reward, the legacy that lasts. Maybe it lies less in getting more for yourself and more in turning around and helping someone else discover their voice.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, Sami's journey just powerfully illustrates how the most profound impact often comes from personal vulnerability, from being willing to start small but with real intention.
Yeah.
It really challenges us, I think, to maybe rethink what success truly means in our own lives, to move beyond just personal achievement and embrace the incredible power of collective empowerment, helping others rise.
Indeed. Sami's story didn't end with fame, did it? It began with a fear. It grew with a whispered word in a classroom. And it lives on, echoing, getting louder, in that little room where voices are rising every single day. It's such a powerful testament to that idea. When you truly find your voice, you create the space for others to find theirs too.
Which really raises an important question for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. How might your own experiences, the fears you've overcome, the skills you've worked hard to gain, how might they be the very thing needed to empower someone else in your community? What small step, maybe not fancy, not big, but real, could you take to help someone else find their voice, their confidence, their next step? And what ripple effect, however small it seems at first, might that create in the world right around you?